very much, Barbara, and it's been really good to hear everyone introduce themselves. As I was preparing the talk today, it's interesting what Claire was saying about lockdown and how it's affected her. I'm a personal stylist, and TalesinStyle is all about personal connection. So lockdown hit me quite hard, but I'm the sort of person who always has to look for the good in some of the nastier situations. So actually it's been really useful because it's allowed me to go back and look at why I do what I do. Good old Simon Sinek, going back and looking to those core principles. So that, in a way, that's actually what I'd like to talk about, and I'll do a little bit of a few slides. I kind of intersperse the slides and talking, because otherwise it gets a bit boring, and I don't want to be boring. Right. Where's my, there we go. I apologise, that's not worked. Right. I'm getting there, guys.
Okay, take your time.
Oh, wow. Do you know what? I don't know whether it's going to work.
Why don't I click it to one person can share the screen at a time? Try that and see if that works.
Okay. Hey, do you know what? I prepared some beautiful slides. What I'll do is I'll put them up in Kindred.
Okay.
And I even test ran this yesterday with my husband, so I don't know why it's not working. So I do apologise.
That's technology for you.
It is, yeah. And what is a real shame is that my first slide was a picture of a guy called Pete, who is very, very handsome, kind of hipster architect. And I put it up because the way he presents himself is exactly an exact example of what a good first impression is. Because whenever you walk into a room or you're on Zoom, you've only got on Zoom, I think it's less than 7 seconds. If you walk into a room, you've got about 7 seconds to make an impression on people. And the vast majority of that is non-verbal. So it's about 80% of that is non-verbal. And an awful lot of it will be to do with your appearance, which is, it's awful because people do judge you on the way that you look. And one of the things that seems to be happening with the pandemic is that people are dressing differently. The way they're working is different, and it's confusing. So finding a way of aligning the way that you present yourself and your business, I think, is going to become increasingly important, which is why I've been really focusing on my sustainability passion. Because Barbara's a perfect example, well-being and presenting herself as a picture of health. And I know that from her wardrobe, because I've been and had a look, I know that the way that she dresses absolutely embodies all the spirit of Arbonne. And if you're doing that, and you know that when you walk into a room, you're confident about how you're representing yourself and your business, it makes an impact. And that is what I'm here to help people with. So I often talk about slow fashion, and people kind of look at me and say, what does all that mean? We are facing a climate emergency. I know Barbara doesn't want me to talk about COVID-19. I hate the subject. I'm not going to bang on about it. But we have this in our world for a reason. We are doing all sorts of things to the planet which are not healthy. And the clothing and fashion industry is so damaging. We're producing double the amount of clothing that we produced in the last century. From the year 2000 up to now, we have produced more than double the amount of clothes that we did in the entire century, and that is shocking. Most of us in the West own 6 times more clothes than we will ever need to use in the planet would ever have to wear. And we dispose of things twice as quickly as we did before 2000, and it's escalating. And most of that, 80% of that, goes into landfill. And actually, if we took the time, and we've been given the time by lockdown, unfortunately, we have been given the time to slow down and have a look at what we've actually got and reassess it, then most of us have got splendid things in our wardrobe that we can either adapt. It may be that our body type has changed slightly, or the needs of what we've got in the wardrobe it doesn't quite fit. But there are loads of experts out there who can help us, and that's one of the places that I see myself is helping people to be able to do that. So I thought I'd talk a little bit about the process that I go through when I'm helping somebody with a personal styling session. And I can do all of this online. It's not the same as when we do it one-to-one, but the process can begin, and we can start the introductory process through Zoom. So I do an awful lot of getting to know what somebody is all about and what their personal requirements are within the what their lifestyle is. So when we're looking at lifestyle, it might be that somebody spends 80% of their time working, but only 20% of their wardrobe fits that, or sometimes vice versa. And just going in and having a little tweak around and working out, getting the balance right, so that when you open the wardrobe, you're not assaulted by all these things that you no longer need in your life. And sometimes some of the things that actually remind you of moments in the past. Say you've left a corporate job in a way that you didn't want to. I think there's going to be a lot of people who've been made redundant. And you don't want stuff in there that's reminding you of a past that no longer suits you. But a lot of those things could be repurposed. So that's where I come in. So yeah, so I spend a lot of time finding out what it is you want to achieve, what it is you would like to do to help you present yourself in the way that you would like to be seen. And that's the point at which we actually go in and have a rummage in your wardrobe. And as I said, I can do that on Zoom. And you know what? It's actually more cost effective at the moment. So why not take advantage of it? And so once we've done that, we can assess, do I need to get some alterations done for you? Do we perhaps need to just say goodbye to clothes? And one of the things I encourage people to do, whether they've done a declutter themselves or whether I've come in and helped them, is to actually say thank you to the clothes, because it might be that they're no longer serving them. It might be that, I don't believe it. Sorry, loud noise outside. It might be that it reminds them of something sad, but at the same time, you know, that item, it served you well. Why not say thank you to it and pass it on to somebody else? So at the moment, I'm actually talking to the charity shops, because a lot of them are quite overwhelmed by the amount of donations. I think not everybody, quite a lot of people went in and decluttered, and they've then not been able to pass it on. So I'm in the process of working with some of the charity shops to see how we can help them, because obviously they've lost a huge amount of income as well. So I've got to know you a bit better. I've got to know your wardrobe a bit better. I've maybe helped you pass a few things on to somebody else. And maybe there are some big gaps in the wardrobe that you want to fill. And there are lots of ways that you can be very conscious about the way you consume, so that you're not buying into this rather destructive cycle of fast fashion that is then going to end up in landfill. There are many different ways you can do it. One of my favourite services that I offer is personal shopping around the local charity shops. We are very blessed in this Twickenham, Teddington, Richmond area, and with a good brief, I can usually manage to find what somebody's looking for just from the charity shops. Just before lockdown, I took a lady had to go back into the corporate world, and she was working for KPMG, and she did not want to go out and spend a load of money on the corporate clothes that she'd kind of just got rid of about 4 or 5 years before. So we hit one of the charity shops was in Richmond, actually opened the doors to us, and we had a bespoke visit, and there was nobody else in there. So, you know, some of the charity shops are that welcoming. And we managed to get an entire wardrobe for her. And I went and checked all the prices against the websites, and I saved her £1,200. And we had such yeah, exactly. And we had so much fun doing it. It was brilliant. So charity shops are my first go-to, but there are loads and loads of ethical retailers out there. And some of the retailers on the high street are getting better. I have to say there's a lot of greenwashing out there, which is probably where I can come in and help you, as I'm a bit of a geek about doing the research. So I know that I'll give you one example, which is H&M. A lot of people think they're great because they have the conscious range. It's tiny. It's a tiny, tiny proportion of what they sell, but it is good. That portion of their range is good, and their accountability and traceability is really good. So if you want someone who's willing to go and trawl through all of that detail, which I'm sure not everyone finds fascinating, I'm your girl. And I'll do online shopping for people as well. So I'm here to help you reconnect with a sense of style that sometimes we've lost, help you to reimagine how you can present yourself in the world, and to make sure that the way you present yourself is absolutely in line with the core values of your business. And as I said, I'm going to post those slides in the Kindred website, Kindred Facebook group, because I want you to see a picture of Pete. And I'm here to also help you make those conscious shopping choices when you do have to replace something new, because even I cannot survive entirely on second-hand clothes, though I'm willing to give it a go a lot of the time. So I hope that's been instructive and helpful, and I'm very happy to take any questions.